Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your girlfriend Chanel here, and today I'm back with another investigations episode, episode 3, and these are going to be the first cases we review of the video. Again, it might be recorded over a couple of days, so if the outfit changes, if the hair changes, that's because I'm recording this piece by piece as we get cases that come into our review. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Alright, so we have someone in a moving game, 1200 to 1500 ELO, 2000 to 3000 duels played. I'm already probably going to lean towards just not guilty / insufficient evidence because someone who's 1200, 1500 ELO is up to 500 ELO above me, and that is leagues away in terms of skill and how much I have. I think it's Kazakhstan right away just because of the truck. They see a sign on the left. They kind of just look around. Has a city name, so I feel like maybe that's just like a big recognizable city name. But it looks like they're kind of just scanning the country, not sitting on the sign too long. Looking around, looking at the truck maybe, just going further down the road, going back to another sign. Looking at this one. They see that it matches the city name that's on the sign, looking at the road. Ooh, moving right on top of the Planck marker. And I'm moving off of it, like further down the road, which is interesting. Zooming back out. Zooming into other cities. Maybe they're trying to line something up or look for like an intersection or something. I don't really know what they're looking for. And then they kind of just get on the 5K. I mean, listen, it's entirely possible that they had a script or a Google because at several points they were on the 5K, moving off, zooming in, zooming out. But because they are 200 to 500 EVO above me, I personally could not, in good conscience, vote guilty, even if I think it looks a little bit like Googling, because I just don't know what people who are much higher ELO than me know, and I think it would be unfair to them to be like, I don't know what it is, so therefore they shouldn't know. I don't know how much I'll know if I ever reach 200, 500 ELO higher, so I'm going to go insufficient for both scripting and Googling, because I cannot go guilty here. They are way higher ELO than me. It'd feel unfair to say guilty, so I'm going to go insufficient for both. Alright, looks like it might be the same ELO range. It's 1200, 1500 ELO range, 2000 to 3000 duels played, but it's no moving game, so it's a little bit different. We have some sort of like building behind us with something that you could technically Google because I saw letters. We're looking at city names. We're looking at maybe the thing on the left, the rainbow steps. We have a pole. I'm thinking like, I don't know. What am I thinking here? I'm gonna wait to see what they think. They're kind of just spinning around. I mean, it's like no move. Can't move down the road. Can't really go anywhere that your opponent can't go. No move is by far my worst game mode. So if we're going in by individual ELO, then like I feel like my individual no move ELO is like 600, 700. It's really far below my moving ELO. All right, looking at the wall. Looking at houses and stuff. Not really looking into the map at all. Again, I think there's no way I go guilty here, even if I think they might have Googled something, because I just don't see how I could say that they're Googling or scripting when I don't know what they know about countries. I mean, honestly, I probably would have gone Taiwan here based on the language. I don't know if I was going to go Malaysia, so they did give right country, and they do kind of just drop it on the 5K, like right there, which is interesting. I mean, this feels really like Googling to me, right? Because they just kind of just dropped it on the 5K without scanning any of the rows or anything, and they were very far up and dropping on the 5K and kind of just clicking around it. But again, they are so high elo above me, I don't want to assume or think they are guilty just because they know something that I don't know. So I'm going to go insufficient for both, and we'll let the Geoguessr gods, or whoever reviews a case next, deal with that. Hopefully they have a better elo than me. All right, this one is something we could probably help with a little bit more. Moving game mode, 500 to 600 rating, 400 to 500 duels played. Let's take a look at this. They spin around. They're going to go up and down the road because they can move. Welcome to National Park. Can we move to a national park? Okay, we're looking at the sign. We're looking at the sign a really long time. Like, suspiciously long. I feel like if you don't want to be called out for cheating, you should at least be looking at the map, right? Like, at least scanning it a little bit from this. They're kind of scanning at a high level. Looking here. But then, of course, they get it in the East Nusas. This feels like a ghoul to me. I'm going to watch it one more time, but I'm going to count how many seconds they rest on the sign, because that definitely was information that you can Google pretty quickly and find out exactly where you are. So let's count together. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so they're on this sign for at least like 17 seconds before they move off. I think like it's entirely possible, you know, you spend a lot of time reading a sign, but there's not that much information on the sign that I'm like, you need 17 seconds to read it, I feel like. And the fact that they kind of don't do any map scanning, really, they kind of just zoom right into Indonesia, they'll go to Jakarta first, and then like just scan to the right. Like, it feels like very weird movement to me, like they're not scanning the map for the specific national park or anything. I feel like this is Googling to me, so I'm gonna go guilty for Googling, insufficient for scripting, and submit that for this. All right, next up we have another duel. It is a moving duel, 500 to 600 elo, 400 to 500 duels played. Okay. Looks like we're in Europe. Those are bollards that I should know. They have a yellow line in them. They're moving down the road. Okay, seems like normal movement so far. Okay, there are a bunch of city names on the sign, so this should be helpful for at least like getting the country down if you don't know what country it is. But how long do they rest on this without zooming into at least country that they might think it is if they don't know like specifically where these cities are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this one's a Google. I don't need to watch this one twice. So the reason why I think it's Googling, so they looked at the sign for a decent amount of time, definitely enough time to like search one of those cities. They did not scan the map for the city name. You know what I mean? Like, so they were on the map of the world, and then they kind of zoom into Germany, and then they just zoom in little by little to the location in Germany, like right beside where the city is. I think if you're that low of an elo, like you might know a lot of German city names, right? But then you would either zoom into the map quicker if you recognize it right away, or you'd be scanning, I feel like, the whole map of the country to try and find out where the city is, not just like zooming little by little into the exact location of the city. So it feels super sus to me. I'm gonna go guilty for Googling here and insufficient for scripting. All right, next up, we got another moving duel, 500 to 600 elo, 400 to 500 duels played. All right, they're on a road. They're zooming down the road. There's a pole. There's some license plates looking like maybe Italy license plates, blue and blue on the left and right. A Euro sign. Okay, so definitely in Europe. 5 things in the crosswalk. Practice et son bocca de jeu. Uh-oh, that's in French. That is not Italy. Maybe we're near the French-Italian border, because I saw an Italian plate, but that is French for sure. Ooh, looks like we have some sort of golf course. Ooh, Pyrenees, okay. Grand Prix Ecogolf Ariège. I couldn't read the rest of that because they moved off the sign. Okay. All right. Are they going to zoom further into the sign? Or are they looking for more information? Looking around at the cars, maybe the side of the cars. Okay. Club des Partenaires. That's not going to really help them if they Google that, because it's just like Club of Partners, right? We see a lot of Peugeot, which would tell you it's a French brand, possibly in France or near the French border, but because we see French, pretty safe that we're probably there, or at least in a French-speaking country, so not like Italy is what I mean. Even though we saw an Italian plate, this scanning is weird. Why are they going into the US? I feel like there's no... What? What? Miami? Like, are they, like, throwing one round so it seems like they're not cheating or something? I mean, I can't really, like, assume they're connected to the other cases, I guess, right? But you're guessing Miami on what's a pretty clear France with several signs. Like, they didn't even, like, guess in the right country, right? Like, or in the right, like, mountain range? Like, right continent? I mean, they very well could be, like, Googling or scripting, but I mean, like, if you're gonna throw and put a Miami guess in France, then I'm gonna say insufficient for both, because, wow, that was wildly off. All right, we've got no moving duel, 700 to 800 elo, 1,000 to 2,000 duels played. Okay. Looks like we might be in the US, maybe. Farmer Community Hall. Ooh, Washington? Isn't that Washington's outline or something? Or near Washington, at least. They are. Just zooming into Washington. Going to Route 2. Withrow 6 miles. Maybe they're looking for where Withrow is and trying to go closer to there. They're at the intersection. I mean, okay. So here's the thing. I know that was like a meme like 4 months ago. I'm so behind the times. Okay. There is a lot of information here. First of all, US vibes. Second of all, we see like that sign with the outline of Washington's head, which indicates to you that you're in Washington State. So that is like a lot of, I feel like, easily recognizable information that would tells you where you are. And then there's a route sign. So I mean, like, yes, technically all of this is like Googleable, I guess, but Farmer Community Hall, not something super specific. I feel like they could Google. That is like a very recognizable shape. If you've done like any sort of meta studying, or even if you just like maybe like you live in the US, I don't know what country this person's from. They're looking for Route 2, which is a pretty big route. Like, this doesn't feel very suspicious to me. There's so much information, and they kind of zoom in quickly to the right area of the map, so it tells me that I think they recognize the metas. Also, I think I see Washington Bollards, which I did not see the first time, and then there's a city name, which tells you you're X number of miles away from the area, so yeah. I guess technically it's possible because they had all this information. I could have Googled it, but personally I think it's very gettable. And especially at this ELO, like you might just like know random metas. Like you might not know every meta for a country, but that seems like a really easy meta to know. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt here, do insufficient for both, because technically there is stuff they could have Googled or scripted, but it seems like normal movement to me, and I think something that I could have gotten at that ELO, so I'm gonna go insufficient. All right, we have a no moving duel, 700 to 800 ELO, 1,000 and 2,000 duels played. They're looking around, they see the dirt, they see the houses, they see a city name, not blurred. They look at the tree, they look at the sign behind, looking at the people. Looking at the city again. Zoomed in to Senegal for a second, but looks like they're not sure of the country maybe. Like, now their map is kind of over Ghana and Nigeria. They look at the sky, they're like, what hemisphere are we in maybe? I'm trying to like think through what their thought process might be. Not really zoomed into any particular country. Going into Botswana here. Just guessing on a road in Botswana. I mean, this one's tough. I'm not 100% sure on scripting or Googling, so I'm definitely not going to go guilty for both. There was something to Google, so they could have Googled. Could they have just plonked it in the middle of Botswana on a road and gotten it right? I think so. So we're going to go insufficient for both scripting and Googling here. All right, we have a no move duel, 700 to 800 ELO, 1,000 and 2,000 duels played. There's a sign that says to evacuation center, there's concrete, there's a lot of palms and stuff around, it's in English. Looks like they kind of zoom in on maybe Southeast Asia. Where'd they even guess? Oh, they just got it in Philippines, hold on. I don't think it like very clearly showed me like how quickly they zoomed into the Philippines. They're just like looking around, doing a little bit of an insta-plonk. I mean, I don't think there really was anything to Google. I know it said like to evacuation center, but not like a city name, a building name, or anything like that. So I'm gonna say not guilty for Googling. Scripting, I guess, is possible, but maybe from just like the concrete, the palms, and the English, they thought Philippines. I feel like that's entirely possible. So we're gonna go not guilty for Googling here and insufficient for scripting. All right, looks like this duel, it is a no move duel, 800 to 900 ELO, 300 to 400 duels played. They look at the sky, they're spinning around. What do they zoom in on? Maybe the sign in the back, that looks like a Mexico sign, and it has information on it that is not super distinct, but it says MITLA, I think, in the middle one. So that one might be readable. I mean, they just plonked it in the middle of a waka. It could be somewhere that they know. It could be something else. I mean, I'm region guess here. I don't think they looked on the sign for too long. They look at the sky. They're looking at like everything around. Oh, there's agave. I feel like the agave points to certain regions in Mexico. And then, yeah, there's something in the back. I mean, it's possible that they Googled this because it's sort of readable. So they could have, but I'm going to err on the side of caution here. Because it's entirely possible that they just like know region guessing or recognize the plants or something. So we're going to go insufficient for both. All right, next up is a moving duel, 900 to 1,000, 1,000, 2,000 900 1,000 ELO, 1,000, 2,000 duels played. All right, they're spinning around. There's a nest on top of the pole. They're looking at the car, the license plate. Moving down the road. White flowers. tree maybe they're looking at, perhaps. I don't think there's anything that, like, I've seen that they could Google so far, so I feel like Googling is not guilty, but they are staring just, like, at this tree for a really long time, but that doesn't mean that they're scripting necessarily. I want to see what else they look at. Because there's still, like, a lot of the run. Okay, that community board has, like, no info on it. That little sign might have info. Low-key unreadable, okay. But maybe the logo means something. Maybe these trash bins mean something. The guess and Lith. Kind of just plumped middle Lith for now, which I'm like, okay. They move down the road. Perhaps they're looking for, like, a city name now that they know it's Lith. Moving very quickly. Ooh, and here is a city name. Zalabas. Oh, and Vilnius. Okay. Well, Vilnius is the capital, so I feel like a lot of people will know that one. So we're probably going to move closer to the capital, I have to guess. They're kind of zoomed in on the right area. Going back to the road. Yeah, I mean... Okay, what do I think here? I think that Googling was possible once they found a sign with a bunch of information, although I don't really think that they Googled because Vilnius is, like, the capital, so a lot of people know where that is and, like, what that is. But I'm gonna go insufficient there. Scripting is possible. They had a long pause on, like, a weird place. Like, they weren't scanning on the map, but they were just, like, paused on, like, the pole or something, but there was nothing to, like, read on there. But it could be just some meta that I don't know. So I'm gonna go insufficient for both because I don't believe it is scripting and I'm at least, like, not 100% sure. So, yeah. Alright, moving duels, 900, 1000 elo played. Moving duels, 900, 1000 elo, 1000, 2000 duels played. Can you tell that I just woke up? I'm misspeaking a lot. Okay, we're in Brazil. They're looking at the sign. It says PCN on the sign. I feel like they're just, like, scanning for information. Does it say anything about what, like, region we're in on the sign? I don't think so, unless I'm misreading it, which is entirely possible here. They're on a major road. They're moving down the road. This feels like normal movement. Brazilian pole. Looking at some of the signs, perhaps, on the side. .ac. Oh, .ac. Low-key had panicked for a second and be like, what is .ac? I'm like, this is not a country that I know, but that sign says .ac, so I feel like that makes sense why it's Acre. And they kind of just guessed in a city in Acre, so yeah, I feel like definitely could have Googled because there's a ton of signage around and they're in a big city, but I don't really think they did, so I'm gonna go insufficient there. Scripting, I'm gonna go insufficient because I don't feel confident that it's scripting. They moved a lot and it's a moving duel, and the movement seemed like perfectly normal to me, so we're gonna go insufficient for both. Alright, we have one that we can see now. No move duel, 800, 900 elo, 300 to 400 duels played. We see a sign here. More signs. This is Sardinata. Definitely Googleable. Huh. That feels a little suspicious to me. I'm gonna watch this again, but the amount of time that they spent looking at the sign and not zooming into the map or even scanning for Sardinata feels a little weird to me, so let me watch this again. They look at the sign right there, don't find any information they can use. They look to the left, it says, welcome to Sardinata. One. Yeah, I feel like this feels like a Google to me. I'm not gonna lie, because they stared at the sign for like what felt like maybe almost 10 seconds, and they didn't really do any like scanning of the map. And to be honest, I don't even think they zoomed in far enough in the map to have the name Sardinata show up. So it feels like they looked up the location, knew generally where it was in Colo, and just like plonked it there from atop, because I can't even see like the city name from this high up. So like it seems like you have to zoom in very far to see that, and they got like right on it. So it doesn't feel like a middle plonk or just like a random plonk. I feel like that seems like a Google to me because of how long they rested on the sign and then just insta-plonked from not zooming in. So I'm going to go guilty for Googling and not guilty for scripting. Or no, insufficient for scripting. Okay. We got another new move duel, 800, 900 elo, 300 to 400 duels played. Okay. Blue on the license plate. Taxi. Is that a city name ever? It could be. I'm gonna watch this one again. It feels like potentially Google, like they don't really like zoom in on everything, and like to be fair, there's a lot of information and they could just like note Serbia, but I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you really need like 10 seconds to read all the information on this taxi? I'm like, I don't know. It's not like a big sign where you're like, okay, maybe I'm taking the time to like read everything on there and look for like a location name. Like there's only like really like one word on here that they need. And they don't even like zoom in until after 10 seconds at least. I don't know. This feels weird to me too. Am I 100% confident they're Googling? Let me watch it one more time and go with a fresh mind. Like, they're not zooming into, like, the license plates, any of the big signs. Of course, this taxi has a lot of information, but I'm, like, I feel like once you notice, like, the area code or the name, like, maybe you're scanning for a certain area if you know it, and if you don't know it, then you're looking at other information. But they're, like, focused on this, like, one word too long, so it kind of feels like I'm just, like, Googling it and then, like, going right into where it is. Yeah. I feel like that feels like a Google to me because of how long they've rested on the city name on the car or the name on the car or whatever without scanning the map. Like they kind of just like looked at the thing there for like 10 seconds. If it was a larger sign, I would give them, I think, the benefit of doubt. Like, you know, it takes a lot of time to read a lot of words and blah, 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 all that stuff. But there was just like one word on there and one number. So they could have looked up the area code. They could have looked up the number. And I kind of just plonked like right near it. So I'm going to go guilty for Googling, insufficient for scripting here. All right, we've got a no-move duel, 800 900 elo, 1,000 and 2,000 duels played. We see like the red snow pole things in the ground. You see the trees, the trees, the houses. Listen, it could just be a lucky Norway plonk. I feel like this was like a really quick round. I don't know how quick like scripting works. Like there's definitely nothing to Google, so I'm gonna go not guilty for Googling here. But I mean, the movement and zooming seems like kind of normal to me. And it could just be like vibesing like where the location was. This one doesn't really feel like I'm unsure, I guess, if it's scripting, but I'm gonna go insufficient for scripting because I don't really know. Not guilty for Googling because there's simply nothing to Google. Okay, we got no move duel, 800, 900 elo, 1000, 2000 duels played. We have a bollard visible right off the rip. We have a bus stop. We have the long yellow middle line. Yellow and black chevrons. Honestly, this just feels like a middle Ecuador plonk. Like, I don't even think they had time to, like, look at anything. Like, I don't think the bus stop had information that they could look up. I guess it's possible. But I feel like with, like, the chevrons and the bollards and everything, it just feels like Ecuador. So just plonked middle Ecuador. I don't think that they're Googling here. I'm going to go not guilty for Googling. Scripting, I guess, is possible always, but I don't feel like it. So I'm going to say insufficient, I guess, to err on the side of maybe someone who is higher elo could tell than me. But yeah. All right, next case. We have a moving duel, rating range less than 500. Okay, this is the first time I've gotten a less than 500 elo duel in review. 200 to 300 duels played. Let us see how this works. Okay, Tunnel, Santa Fe to Guanajuato. Okay, so we know Guanajuato is a region in Mexico. Does this person know it? Let's see how long they rest on the sign. I feel like at the point where I start to feel awkward for just like watching the not moving screen on a moving duel, that's where I start to be suspicious that it's Googling or something. They really, really are not moving here. They're not even zooming into the sign. They just like, I think they're like looking up all the words on the sign, it feels like. They're moving around a little bit now. See Guanajuato here. Gonna go in Guanajuato City. Ugh. I mean, they're not even moving. They haven't even moved. It's not even like they are in a moving duel and they like insta-plonked, you know? And they're like, okay, they're just vibesing here, but man, they stared at the sign for an awkwardly long amount of time. I guess they're trying to line up a tunnel or something now, but I don't know. And they're kind of staring right above where the tunnel is. Ugh. I mean, listen. It's feeling like Google to me. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think I really need to rewatch the amount of time that they were stuck on that sign for, but there was information on there for sure. I'm gonna go guilty Googling. Scripting insufficient. It feels more like Googling to me. They were literally on that sign for like 20 seconds, so they didn't even move down the road. I'm like, that's fine because sometimes like you just know where you are and you insta-plonk, but they were like on the sign for like, it felt like 15, 20 seconds. And they didn't even like zoom in until like after that time period. They weren't even like on the sign and zooming and scanning for like Guanajuato. So I'm gonna go guilty for Googling, insufficient for scripting. Okay, we have a no-move duel, less than 500 elo, 200 to 300 duels played. Looks like we're in South Africa. Okay, we have some sort of lodge. Looking at the sign. I mean, Yeah, that's gonna be a guilty for Googling. I mean, I know it's a no move duel, but that was like, it felt like 30 seconds just staring at the sign. And then like doing no scanning really whatsoever, just instantly zooming in onto the city that it was. That was like the name on the sign. So I'm like, there's plenty of time that they could have been Googling. Like it was way, way more than they actually even needed, I feel like, to Google, but like, damn, that was so long. I'm gonna like go insufficient for scripting here and Google guilty. That is a crazy amount of time. Alright, moving duel, less than 500, 200 to 300. Duels played. Feels like UK, Ireland, maybe. They're zooming down a road. They're pausing. Maybe their movement is lagged. Okay, they're moving again. Oh, moo-moos. Hello, moo-moos. Right, they see the stop sign on the left side of the road. Ooh, they see a sign here. Oop, the sign disappeared. They go back. They look at the sign name from here. Oops, they're looking at it from this side. It says, what, Broadford and Kanturk. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Do I really need to count more? It's been more than 40 seconds and they haven't moved past this sign. I mean, like, I understand sometimes it takes a long time to read information on a sign, but that was like at least 40 seconds. And they did no zooming in up to at least like the right country. I feel like if I came across a sign like this and I was like, oh, I know the country, but I don't know the city name, I'm at least like zooming into the right country on the map, right? They kind of just are here for 40 seconds looking at the sign and then instantly zooming into the right city on the country. I'm gonna finish out watching the rest of this, but it feels like they just like Googled this intersection. Yeah, that's like way too long without moving. They zoom out. Zooming back into the sign. I mean, they're in a moving duel. I would think they would at least move down the road. Or if they found this sign and they were like, oh, I'm trying to like line something up, then like, wouldn't you be like zooming into the map more? You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with like the rest on the sign if they're doing some sort of like map movement or something, or at least like scanning for something, but they're not really scanning. They're just like looking at the sign. You know what I mean? And then they zoom out, and then they zoom back into where they are. Like, it feels like really weird movement. Looking at Newmarket. I mean, this is the kind of movement I would expect, like, after like 5-10 seconds of looking at the sign, you're like, okay, I realize we're in Ireland. Maybe I should scan for city name, look for a route number or something. But no, this feels really weird. Yeah. Like, it's literally been, what, like almost like 2 minutes, it feels like, this whole round or this whole case, so they haven't even moved, like, past the road. So, I don't know. What can you do here? They got the 5K at least, but No, that has to be a Google. I'm sorry. It was like 2 minutes that they were just looking at the sign. I'm like, it's a moving duel. It's not even like no moving, where I'm like, there's no way you can move down the road. We're gonna go guilty for Googling, insufficient for scripting. I feel like if it's scripting, honestly, they'd probably get there a lot faster, right? Like 2 minutes is a super long, a super long time to be like looking at the sign. Guilty for Googling. We're gonna go scripty, insufficient for scripting. All right, looks like we've got a moving duel, 700 to 800 elo, 600 to 700 duels played. All right, we've assigned here Teeple Road and West Shore Road. This feels like a Google to me. I'm like 99% sure. I'm gonna watch it one more time just to make sure, but I mean, if you knew where this was right away, right? If you're like, oh, I live by Teeple Road, wouldn't you be zooming in and like scanning the map quicker for like your town or something? Like, this is just like sitting on the sign for like 10 to 15 seconds and like not really doing any scanning. Like, these aren't even like city names. So like to get this like road slash like intersection or whatever, like I feel like this would be even more difficult to see you just like insta-plonking there. Like, they didn't really even do any map movement. Like, it was like on the sign for what, like 10 to 15 seconds, and then a quick zoom into like Quebec, oh, and then like right on the right road here. Yeah, that's a Google. So we're starting off the day with a guilty Googling and insufficient scripting. It could be scripting, but it just seems like a Google with how long they were resting on the sign. Okay, next case. All right, we've got another moving duel, 700, 800 elo. Another moving duel, 700 to 800 elo, 600 to 700 duels played. Okay. They're building a bridge, it looks like here. Evergreen. Okay. Moving down the road. Ooh. Okay. Candy. I feel like I've heard of that city before. Ooh, it is Sri Lanka, okay. It does feel like Sinhalese. So I was gonna say that, but I was like not sure. I was too scared to say it, but obviously I didn't. So I mean, okay, this one we're just like in the capital, right? So was there any suspicious movement in this one? They kind of go around. They go down the road. They look at the like shipping container. We see the sign with the like language over here. It says max height. They zoom down one more further. Was that a long time of looking at the sign before they zoomed into the map? I'm gonna count the time again this time because I feel like this is very obviously like Sri Lanka, at least like from the language. Like, I don't know if I would have gotten it before seeing this sign, but if I knew it was Sri Lanka from the language, let me look again. Okay, we're zooming down the road. We see this language over here on the left. I zoom in once, zoom in twice on this one. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, that's certainly enough time to Google, but could they have just been thinking like, oh, I've heard where this place is? And this is like in the capital too, so I'm like, I feel like it could just be a recognizable place. This one I'm less sure about, which I know I'm like, there is a gigantic sign. They could have just Googled it. But I feel like also capital of Sri Lanka, very noble place maybe. And they could have just been thinking, this one seems less obvious to me because the last round, like for example, I don't know if it was the same person or not, but it was like two street names instead of like city or like, you know, region names or whatever. So we're gonna go insufficient for both here. Okay, next case. All right, another moving duel, 700, 800 elo, 600 to 700 duels played. All right, they turn around, they move down the road. Oop, cannot see. Oh, okay, they have a sign here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ugh. Okay, this one feels like a blatant Google again. I don't know if these are the same person because I don't want to make the assumption that they're the same person, even if the stats are the same. But if I knew the city name, right? And where were we? We were in Czech Republic. If I knew the city name, wouldn't I just either scan an instant or like zoom in instantly or scan the country for the city? Like, it doesn't feel like there's any scanning. Like, they're looking at the sign for 10 plus seconds without moving. And then they kind of insta zoom into the region of the Czech Republic. Like, they're not even scanning the whole country. So that's like, yeah, that feels more like a Google to me. I'm gonna go guilty for Googling here and insufficient for scripting. Okay, next case. All right, moving duel, 900 to 1,000 elo, 5,000 to 6,000 duels played. We have a sign here. They're kind of, okay, they're moving in the map, like, very quickly. I feel like this is, like, scanning and map movement. They knew the country right away, too, so, like, they either recognized, like, you know, like, the language or, like, the vibes of where they were or something. Yeah, I think that this one, like, you know, despite it resting on the sign for a long time, doesn't really feel like Googling to me. So I'm going to keep it insufficient for Googling because, I mean, I guess it could have been, but the fact that they zoomed into, like, the right country, like, right away and then they were scanning through a city, it just feels more like natural, normal scanning movement than, like, oh, I'm Googling because, like, a lot of times when you see these, like, guilty Googling cases, I feel like they're not even zoomed into the right country or, like, looking for, like, a city or road name or whatever. It's just, like, insta zoom into, like, the exact right area. But this one, they were zoomed into the right country. So it felt like normal map movement to me. We're going to go insufficient for Googling and scripting. Okay, next case. All right, we got a moving duel, 900 to 1,000 elo, 5,000 to 6,000 duels played. We see a sign here, a Christian center. That was fine, they weren't resting on it for too long. A bunch of flags here. Total healthcare. Going down the road. Oh, it says Ibadan here. That's a very big city. Looks like they're scanning a little bit. Yeah, I think that seems like completely normal movement to me. Like, I guess they could have looked it up, but I really don't think so. I think, like, that seemed like normal movement down the road. They saw a big city name on the sign, and they kind of, like, just zoomed into, like, the right area and country. Like, it wasn't, like, enough time to Google it, I feel like. I'm gonna go insufficient for both. Okay, next case. Looks like another moving duel, 900 1,000 elo, 5,000 6,000 duels played. Are they moved down the road? Okay, they're moving now. Lots of, like, red pine needles around. Stop sign. Okay. Southern Bank. Okay, so they're thinking like maybe we're in the southern US. This seems like a very long round, so I'm wondering if they just like found good information or something. We'll see. All right, Wayne County Center. Parties, okay. Kind of just like lots of suburban areas. Chains and stuff. They haven't zoomed into a state, so I feel like they don't know where it is. I mean, like, low-key, I don't know what state it is, so... but it's definitely U.S. Baptist Church. Hold up, there's a big sign up there. Maybe they're gonna look at that. It says Mississippi on there. South something in Mississippi. Maybe they're looking for a city name over here? On these signs, perhaps? Ooh, they're looking at the route numbers. Ooh, I'm not great at looking at the route numbers. And matching them up to where I am. So they have the right state at least because they found it on the sign, which I think is completely fine. 184 and 63 looks like they're looking for 145 too. Not finding any of the numbers. Oh, there's 63 though. Okay. So they're at least wanting to be on one of the right routes, even if it's not the 5K. They're near Louisville. They kind of go back north. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this feels like completely like normal movement to me. Like they were scanning the map a lot. They weren't just like resting on the signs. I mean, they found that like one billboard that said like something about Mississippi on it. So definitely like very findable information. I'm gonna go insufficient for both here. I don't believe they were Googling. They were doing a lot of map movement and like normal movement on the road. Insufficient for scripting. Okay, we're actually going to end it there for today. Thank you so much for watching this video of me reviewing Geoguessr cases for cheating for both Googling and scripting. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments. Also tell me if you disagreed with any of the verdicts that I made. So thank you so much again for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to French Vanilla and have a great day.